way. This one's got to come in. We got a big fish on here, guys. We got a big fish on. He was smoking the drag in the rod holder. I'm clearing lines because we don't want any tangles. Let me straighten this motor just a bit. I'm very anxious. Something huge. Look at that fish, Marty. Look at that fish. That's why we throw flies. Woo! Look at that fish, guys, on a black metalhead. I don't know, something. But what a thrill! That fish was it just went and dragged and holy moly! First fish of the day, about 9 pounds. We'll take that.
Yes, we will.
I'll put him in the box and then we'll get some. Okay. Howdy guys, Kel Kellogg here. Welcome back to the channel. Please help me out. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. You'll always know when I'm here on YouTube talking about trout fishing. And today we are going to be talking about trout spoons, how to fish them, how to cast them, how to troll them, stuff like that. I know you guys love hearing about trout spoons, thinking about trout spoons, commenting about trout spoons, and that's exactly what we're going to do. But first, I got a couple of announcements to make. As you can see, it's been raining here in the Sierra foothills. It's been raining most of the night. It was raining yesterday. I had a guide trip out at Folsom Lake, and it was absolutely refreshing to be out wearing a hoodie, enjoying some cool temperatures, couple rain showers, catching trout, catching salmon. Good times. Fall is right around the corner. This is a huge reminder that fall is coming, and it's going to be a very unique fall for us here in Northern California because our lake levels are high. I don't think Folsom's down more than about 12 feet, maybe 14 feet. My high Sierra destinations, they're down 4 or 6 feet. We haven't seen this much water in Northern California lakes in the fall for a number of years, and that points to a very exciting fall trout season. The fish, they're going to start feeling that urgency to feed that they always feel in the fall. The bite is going to be very good. We're already seeing it at places like Elmore and Eagle, where limits have become the norm. We're seeing the fish start to put on the feed bags in the high country. That action is going to move down to the foothills, and finally it's going to end up here in the valley. I'm getting a little bit of rain spitting here, but I see a little blue sky up there too, so hopefully I won't get too much water on the lens of the old GoPro here. So bottom line is we are in for some great fall action, and it's already getting started up in the high country at some of our destination lakes like Eagle, Elmore, Bucks Lake, stuff like that. If you are looking to stock up on gear for the upcoming fall season, we are having our killer fall sale over at fhsfishing.com. Go over there, check out our store. We are having a huge 20% off sale. If you've been wanting a lead core rod, a downrigger rod, spoons, trolling flies, trout, tricks, worms, whatever, 20% off across the board. And if you spend more than $25, we are giving away very unique 3 fly sets. If you've been on the fence about trying your hand at fly trolling, this is the perfect opportunity to get your hands on a free set of trolling flies. They're very bold, they're very bright, they're awesome fall colors. Enough said, 20% off and free flies over at fhsfishing.com. Final announcement before we get into the fishing tactics is about our guiding season. We just put up the calendar for Collins Lake. We will be back at Collins Lake this fall. We're going to be there anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. We haven't decided yet. The weather means a lot. Depends if the lake blows out or not. But we are going to be there for the full month of November. We are going to be there for the first week or two of December. Absolutely, positively, for sure. So if you want to join me out on the waters of Collins Lake, chasing holdovers, we have holdovers this year, and those big, beautiful Lassen hatchery trout, get on up to the guiding calendar, stake out your date. The days after Thanksgiving always fill up really fast. November is a great month at Collins. The crowds are light, but the fishing is very, very good. Get up there, grab your spot, see out on the water on the FHS pontoon boat. Enough said, let's talk about trout spoons. I'm going to show some footage of me catching some trout recently on trout spoons, and then I'll be back and we'll talk spoons. Oh, fish on right there. Fish on, reeling it up. Nice. Awesome. Nice one too. Awesome. Ooh, he's hot. Let's look at this over here. That's a nice fish. On the spinning rod, on the retrieve, bonus fish. I'm digging it. On the disco minnow right there, on the spinning rod. Fish on, Disco Junior. Awesome. Disco Junior. Nice fish. And he came off the hook. Okay, guys, I am back. Let's talk spoons. Let's kind of talk about some of the short-term history, at least, of trout spoons. These days, for trolling, very thin spoons like this Pro Trigger spoon, very thin spoons, they're all the rage right now. Needlefish, XLs, just most of the spoons we're pulling for trout are very thin. They're very light. They have great action through the water, but they do have some drawbacks. Okay, being very light, they don't sink very fast, and you can't really use them for casting. If you want to double dip and you want to go out and cast from the shores of a lake or reservoir, you're going to have a hard time throwing that trigger spoon very far because it's very thin, it's very light. Now, the fish you saw me catch in the video, they were caught on a fairly unique spoon, at least these days. They were caught on a full-size disco minnow, just like that one right there in the Captain America color. Look at the side, look at the edge of that spoon. That is a very thick, very dense spoon. Now, keep that in mind. I'm going to show you a different spoon, one that was very, very popular, back in the day. Let me put this down here. Let me grab this guy, and I still carry these in my tackle box because, darn it, sometimes they work absolutely great. This is the old school, look how thick that is. That is an old school crocodile spoon, okay? The reason I came up with the Disco Minnow, let me grab my full set of them here. The Disco Minnow, as well as the Disco Minnow Junior, which is a fine spoon as well, is because they're a throwback. Here we see some of the different finishes. They are a throwback to the spoons of yesteryear. They are thick, they are heavy. You could throw them on a spinning rod, you can fan cast in a lake, you can vertical jig with them, and you can cast them in the stream, but you can also take them out, troll them behind your boat, and catch trout that way. Maximum versatility, absolutely deadly spoons. One of the things guys don't pull enough now are the heavier spoons when you're out trolling. One of the benefits is they always tell you, you want to zigzag when you're trolling and you want to vary your speed. Well, part of what makes that so effective is when you slow down, you want that spoon to drop. When you zig and zag and you the inside rod and the outside rod starts to vary in speed, you want those spoons to drop and to rise. When you're using a very thin spoon like a trigger spoon, you're not getting as much of that action as you would with a crocodile or a full-size disco minnow, stuff like that. So that can be very important. I've been pulling disco minnows a lot lately on some very tough bites. I've been using them out at Folsom Lake. Our biggest trout out there this summer so far is about 23 inches. It came on a Disco Junior, just like that one, if I remember correctly. It was either that one or the purple color. Behind a dipsy diver, we just made a turn, and of all the gear we had in the water, I had out a bunch of different spoons. that trout pounced all over that Disco Junior, and it may well have been because that spoon, you know, rose and dropped as I made those turns. So just something to think about when you're out there selecting spoons. If you want versatility for both trolling and casting, those denser, those heavy body spoons, they work very well. You know, you can run the crocodiles, you can run the Castmasters. Those are great spoons, or you can run my Disco minnows. I'm getting more into providing spoons and lures for casters as well as for trollers. I know there's a lot of guys that don't have a boat. There's a lot of guys out there that don't want a boat. They catch plenty of fish off the bank, and I want to provide some gear that offers you maximum bang for your buck. Trout spoons that you can throw with a spinning rod while you're on the shore, or that you can put behind a boat or kayak and troll. When I was out at Prosser, where I caught those fish in the Disco minnow, there were a couple guys on shore that were casting, and they were doing very well, and I could see what they were doing. They'd cast out a spoon. They were using some kind of dense spoon, probably a Castmaster, something like that, and they were actually counting that spoon down, because I'd see that guy haul off and cast, and then I'd watch him count that spoon down and then start to retrieve, and I watched him catch several fish while I was kind of trolling offshore them. The fish were at 30 feet that day, so it's not that hard to get down to that kind of depth with a dense spoon, even from shore. What you want to do is you want to look at the pitch of the bank, find an area that looks like the water's dropping off pretty fast, and then just cast out and start counting that spoon down. Typically, a dense spoon like a crocodile or one of these Disco minnows, the full-size version, they're gonna sink about a foot per second. So count them down, get them down a little bit deeper than you think you need to go, and then start your retrieve. And it's all about replication from there. You start off with, you know, count it down 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. If you find out you're counting it down 40 seconds, you're starting your retrieve and then you're getting hit. That's the formula. Keep fan casting, maybe move along the shoreline a little bit, but stick with that 40 count before you begin to retrieve. That's how you adjust your depth when you're plugging from the shores of a lake. Now, in a river or stream, what you want to do, you don't really want to cast upstream and let the spoon sink, because you're apt to get snagged. What you want to do is you want to cast straight across the stream, and you can let it sink a bit, or you can engage your reel, let the line go tight, and let it swing across on the current. That's how you vary your depth in a stream. So good strategy is to start off with cast straight across the stream, engage the bail on the reel, and just let the spoon swing. The next time, cast it out, let it sink for a 2 or 3 count, then engage the bail and do the same thing. What you're doing is you're allowing that spoon to sink a little bit by counting it down. Then when the line tightens, it works against the current on a tight line as it crosses the stream. Once it's down below you, let it hang in the current for a second, work it a little bit, then slowly retrieve it and repeat. That's what you want to do in a stream. If you're in a boat, you know, trolling that S pattern is very effective. Also, slowing down on the throttle, or if you're in a kayak, this is super effective. Get off the pedals. You're pedaling along, let's say we're going 2.2 miles an hour. Get off the pedals and let that kayak glide. Let your speed glide all the way down to 1 mile an hour. A lot of times when you get back on the pedals and those spoons start to elevate in the water column and they start working hard again, bam, fish on right there. What was likely happening is you had captured a trout's interest and he was following those spoons, and then it does something erratic. It starts to drop in the water column, then it starts to rise and take off, and you know, that trout can't stand it. It's giving him a ton of action. He thinks, you know, whatever he was thinking about eating is going to get away, and he has to make a decision. Am I going to grab it or am I going to let it go? And very often you'll get a grab when you go through a sequence like that, when you slow down and then speed up. Final thoughts on the Disco minnow. You can find them over at fhsfishing.com. They come in a variety of colors. You've got the full size right there. You've got the junior right there. For the junior, trolling speed about 1.8 to 2.2. For the big guy, about 1.8 all the way up to 3. Check them out aside of the boat. Dial in the action that looks right to you based on the speed that you're traveling. and get ready to yell fish on, because they are an absolutely deadly spoon. I know I'll be trolling them again this week. I'm going up to Elmanor, maybe Butt Lake, some different places. I'm getting in some traveling before I get into the hardcore guiding season, and I'm up at Collins Lake every day. So I'm going to do a little bit of traveling around Northern California, and I know that the disco minnow is going to be part of my arsenal, part of what I'm pulling this upcoming week when I'm up there looking for trophy trout. I'm Kel Kellogg. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the rest of this Labor Day weekend. And I will catch you next time right here on YouTube on Tuesday. And we'll be talking trout fishing once again. You have a great day. And remember, if you're looking for something trout related, get on over to FHSfishing.com. You can find those disco minnows, you can find rods, and you can book a trip with me up at beautiful Collins Lake this November. Enough said. I'm out of here. Thanks for all the support, guys.